Hello and welcome back to another Factorio tutorial video. I'm Exterminator and thanks for joining me. So this one is going to be on setting up blue science and getting all that running, because really we're about at that point in the game in our tutorial map here, and I think setting up blue science is probably one of the biggest hurdles that people, or especially newer players, encounter. Probably that in the oil industry, maybe a couple other things, but blue science is definitely one of them. It was for me. Probably the first 2 or even 3 times I played through a map, I had a very difficult time setting up blue science. And even now, I don't really have a difficult time, but I still hate doing it just because it's a pretty arduous process. Let's go here and show. So your blue science packs, which are your level 3 packs, there's 4 if you didn't know. There's these 3, and then the purple ones, which you just get from alien artifacts, which you get from killing alien bases. But yeah, blue science packs here, science pack 3, they take 4 ingredients, and what makes this so complicated is none of them are like simple, what's the word? Intermediate ingredients or standard ingredients. You know, I mean, like red science. It takes copper and iron gear wheels, which is pretty simple. You know, it's just one base ingredient. You know, it's a copper plate, and then iron gear wheels, which just come from iron. And green science is a little more complicated, right? Because you have to make the belts and the inserters. But then blue science is like, it can just be really overwhelming. Like, the first time I played and looked at this, I just sat there and I'm like, wait, what am I supposed to do? So yeah, it takes batteries, it takes advanced circuits, smart inserters, and steel. The steel's actually pretty easy. Obviously, you just smelt the iron. And batteries you just get from our oil processing area, from petroleum. So that's not that bad. The advanced circuits can be a little complicated, and the smart inserters can cause some problems with people to have, finding a good setup to automate them. Because our smart inserters here require fast inserters and 4 electronic circuits. The fast inserters require iron circuits and inserters, and the inserters require circuits, iron, and gear wheels. So it's like many steps here. And our advanced circuits take 2 electronic circuits, plastic bars, and copper cable. Okay, so my goal here in this video is to kind of show you the setup of each of the products needed, and then walk you through those, and then really just set the blue science up. I mean, that part's easy, just throwing down the assembling machines and getting it over here. So let's go ahead and start with the first one, which is batteries. Now, you obviously need to set up the oil industry to get these, but you pretty much have to set up the oil industry before blue science anyway, so that should already be done. And, if you're having problems with that, definitely check out my tutorial video on that, or there's plenty of others. Check out the forums. So we have our batteries here, which have stopped making because they are out of iron, because I haven't automated that part. But we have our batteries here, which are just made from from petroleum, which is turned into sulfur, which is turned into sulfuric acid, and then put into batteries, and then they just need iron and copper. So we're making up here. I will run them down. Well, I might as well just run them down now, since I'm here. Now, once you get logistics, the logistics system, I should say, with robots, this becomes far easier, because you don't have to belt these all the way to wherever your science is going, because unless you're very lucky or extremely strategic with your setups, these aren't really going to be close always to where your science is going to be. So this can definitely be a pain, but for now we're just going to run these down. Okay, so the batteries, I just showed you that. Now we go on to advanced circuits. And I also did a video right before this one, in kind of preparation for this, showing several different advanced circuit setups, and you can go check that out. This is one of them from the video. This is not my own setup. This was something someone posted on Reddit, but it's very similar to one of my own setups. So pretty much it just grabs copper here, makes the copper cables, and places them on these belts going this way. And it's mirrored on both sides, obviously. And so these get the copper cable here, and then they just need plastic and circuits. So we have combined our plastic and circuits, you can see right here, just by side loading. That's what that's called. And then we split it with a splitter and send it down both lanes. And then these guys just eject their advanced circuits here, underground it, and here we go. And again, this can be modified however you want. You could put these onto one lane and have it go down the middle, and have these guys eject into two different lanes, like where the circuits and plastic are now. You know, the copper cable, you could have it like these belts be on this side, so it's on the inside, and have these be on the outside and run the circuits down the middle. You can really modify it however you want, whatever you like, whatever fits your factory, but this worked well for me. This is the pretty standard type of design. And yeah, once you get robots, again, your logistics robots, there's some really cool setups you can do with this that make it a lot easier. But yeah, so we have these, and I'm going to run them over here, I believe, yeah. And of course I'm out of belt, so let's go pick more of that up. But our next stop is going to be the fast inserters, and those can be kind of confusing to set up in any coherent way, you know, that can automate them in a decent manner. And I had a lot of trouble with that myself, but after playing and seeing some setups some other people did, this one here is pretty standard. Again, I didn't come up with this myself. It's a pretty standard way to do it, I think, and it kind of simplifies it a lot. So let's go over this. Okay, so we start with our inserters here. We'll start from the beginning, and our inserters require iron, gear wheels, and circuits. So what I've done is I just stick a gear wheel machine here in front of the inserter machine. I can't think of what I'm trying to say. And I have it insert from here onto this belt, and then just pick it up here, because our gear wheels stop here. None of these other two products need these, so they just stop right here. And again, you can run this whatever way you want. You could go horizontal, the same method applies. One thing I like to do usually is mirror this so that I have double the amount. So just basically put one of these over here and then just bring this line over here as well, or bring it down the middle, and have two gear machines and have those lines on the outside. Again, you can vary these however you want. This is kind of just an idea to show you, to get an idea in your head of how to do it. So these grab the gear wheels, and then they just need electronic circuits and iron plates, which I've used a long-handed inserter here to grab from this line. So if we were to power this up, I'm going to get a few lights. If we were to power this up, there's really no good way to do this. But if we power this up, you can see we are going to be making these. Now, you can see they're waiting on some things, and they're waiting on this bit here. So there's a few ways we can fix this. One way is to make this line be on the inside and have these guys insert out here. Another way would be to just move this power pole like here and just stick another long head inserter right here. And then pretty much what I've done is I've just run a teeny little belt, 2 belts worth right here, and it inserts onto them, and then this guy picks off the belt, right? Because he needs inserters. And he also needs the iron and the circuits, which he can obviously get because he has a long-handed inserter. And these are just awaiting exportation simply because I haven't powered them yet. And you can see they are being exported onto the belt. So it's the same method, and these guys grab them because they need them. And they also need electronic circuits, which is getting taken from here. Now, they don't need iron, so this could be a little bit of a waste, but, I mean, it's only like 2 extra spaces that don't need iron, so it's only like that much of a waste, which isn't very much. Now, you can see, again, this guy is going to end up, once I get all this flowing, is going to end up waiting on these. And you run into a problem where there's no room. There's no room here. You can see there's no room for an extra long hand inserter. So one thing you could do to combat this, and again, that's kind of why I mirror it. It kind of counteracts that, but one thing you could do to mirror it, or not mirror it, to fix this, is to do the same setup. But let's say, I'm just going to show a very quick example. Do it like this. So say these are your long hand inserters and you have your normal ones being made up here like these. These are your long-handed and these are going to be your smart inserters. Instead of placing them right next to each other and then using a belt, you could, and this is probably better, takes a little more space, insert them directly. Number one, you get the stack size bonus for doing this. And number two, you don't have this problem of having too many inserters crowded here, because then, well then, you can just have this belt run where this one would be, and you know, have your circuits and your iron here. So this is actually probably a better setup. I just did this because it was what was in my head at the time when I was setting this up. So again, it's kind of just an example of what you can do and modify it to make it better. I mean, there's definitely ways to make it better, just like I made it better here. And yeah, something like this is probably ideal. We have direct insertion, so you get a stack size bonus, and meanwhile our base is being killed. Then you can just use fast inserters here, and one fast inserter will probably be enough. Although, since you're using 2 different products, you might need 2 fast inserters. Yeah, right, so they've killed our copper. I'm going to ignore them after I kill them, so I can try to finish up this tutorial. But yeah, I mean, it's not all that, it's not all that complicated once you kind of get the hang of it. And yeah, I mean, that's really it. All we're missing is the steel, which I don't really need to explain because it's right here. You know, it's just the iron plate smelted into, you know, smelted in a furnace and ejected as steel plate. So then all we have to do is set up our blue science producers, our assembling machines to do blue science. So normally you would want about 12 of them, and the reason for that is because, kind of as a rule of thumb, at least personally for me, I like to be able to produce 1 science pack every second. So you can see here I've done this with red and green science already. These take 5 seconds to make, and I haven't actually done that with these, which is kind of dumb of me. But I would need 5 of these, and these guys take 6 seconds to make, so I would need another one of these as well. But kind of, that's a rule of thumb, is to have as many assembling machines for the science packs for the amount of seconds they take. I don't know if that made sense, but you know, these take 12 seconds, so you probably you would be safe using 12 of them. You can use less if you don't really care about slow science and stuff. You can use more, definitely, if you have the resources to produce all the products. And yeah, I'll deal with that later, but that's how that should be. And for now, I'm only going to set up like 2 just to give you the idea. I will finish it out off screen, but now really all we have to do is just take our finished product. And to do that, I'm just gonna nab these because this isn't actually our setup. And again, you can have this export over here, over here, over here. I'm gonna have it just do it here because it's a little closer to where I need everything to be. And then I'm going to run our guys down here because you're gonna need 2 belts for your blue science. Obviously, because there's 4 products, only 2 products can fit on a belt. It's pretty straightforward. And again, I'm gonna flesh this setup out like off screen, but for now I'm just going to temporarily set it up like here. That's probably not the best place to do that. And yeah, so you need 2 belts. You're gonna have to use long hand inserters, which really is not that big of a deal, because since they take 12 seconds, you should not have a problem whatsoever getting the resources into the machines. If you need to, you can just double up on the inserters. Okay, so this actually works out perfectly because since I inserted it here, it ends up on this side of the belt, so I can just merge these. So I'm gonna say that smart inserters and advanced circuits are going to be on the same line. And let me run this down this bit. And that steel obviously is going to have to move over to one side, which is not that big of a deal. You know, again, you can kind of set this up all ahead of time to make sure everything works. But this should work, and you know, again, this is like waiting on stuff. So the other setup I showed you a minute ago is probably more ideal for what you would want. And I just have to go throw an inserter over here. And again, once you get robots, this will be way easier because you can just make this a passive provider chest and then put a requester chest down over by the belt you want it inserted on. And if that made no sense to you, that's perfectly fine. I will also do a tutorial on all the logistic stuff. Probably in a few videos. I think the one after this is going to end up being like mid-game combat. I did an early game combat tutorial, and now that we have blue science, we can like use the tank and stuff, which in my opinion, it's probably one of the best mid-game things to use for combat. Okay, so this is going to be perhaps a little tricky. However, there's always ways to do things. So, if we just like take this and do something like that, which again, this is horrible, don't do this. This is for, damn it, example purposes. I can, again, flesh this all out off screen, but the gist of things is you want this to merge onto a belt with one of your products. So for now, an easy and horrible fix is just to do that. Okay, so once we purge this line, you will see that we have that. And then, I mean, that's really all there is to show. I don't really need to show you getting it over to the science labs. That's pretty straightforward. But one thing I do like to do is when I make my science labs, I like to leave space here for a belt already, which I actually haven't done, but it's usually a good idea to space these out one more so you have room for a belt to go along, because you know you'll need another one for blue and purple science to be on. But really, I think that's all there is to cover. I hope this helped. You know, again, there's different ways to do things, and I showed you a kind of a better way to do this in a sense. And of course it helps if you actually have the resources. But I hope this kind of gave you a general idea of maybe what you want to go for, and at least show that Blue Science, setting everything up for it, is not as intimidating as it may seem. Once you actually kind of get an idea for a layout, it's one of those things where, like, before you know what to do, you're just like, oh god, this is so confusing, what am I supposed to do? But then, like, after you actually visually see a layout that works, you can be like, oh, okay, that makes sense, and then, you know, either copy it or come up with something on your own. But it kind of sparks something in your brain, or at least it does for me, that that helps you kind of figure out a good way to do it. So I hope this did that for you. I hope this helped, and maybe, you know, showed it's not as difficult as you may have been led to believe beforehand. So yeah, I think that's about it. I can't think of anything else. If you have any questions, comments, feedback, I would love to see them in the comments section. I always read those, and definitely you know, let me know. And I think the next tutorial will be on mid-game combat with the tank, and yeah, we'll go kill some aliens. So as always, thanks so much for watching. I really appreciate it. I do hope you found this helpful and enjoyed. And until next time, I look forward to seeing you all, and do take care.